Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hope you're doing well. So, I heard a gold digger not too long ago say men are supposed to honor women. And the irony of this is that this particular gold digger is also an occultist, and she teaches women how to use men, and is highly materialistic and insults men who don't have money by calling them dusties, and is really somebody who promotes very dark forms of feminism to the point where it's female supremacy and like very weird things. And so this made me think about what is honor. And she tells women don't cook and clean for a man, and to neglect to basically use intimacy as a weapon of control. She always tells women to withhold, restrict access to their bodies until their man buys them what they want, or, does certain behaviors that she likes. So she's like the female version of Kevin Samuels, but in a more demonic way. Okay? And I thought about how you can't honor a whore. You can't just give honor out like it's coupons to Chuck E. Cheese. Honor is something that is earned and has to be maintained, and is not applied to everyone. And one must ask themselves, do you deserve to be honored? A lot of occultic feminists, radfems, they don't really have that self-awareness. They call themselves the main characters, goddess energy, queens. They really believe that they're just by them being in your presence, like if you're a guy, that's enough. They don't have to do anything for you. And intimacy is an obligation, and if you run out of money, they will dip. So they have the most ruthless ethos, the most ruthless ethical code that is purely materialistic and quite vapid and vain. And yet they think they deserve to be honored. And these same type of cryptic, covert feminists, that are also some of them blatant at the same time, they mock women who are married to average men and who don't have a lot of money and who like their husbands and give frequent intimacy as pygmishas, right? They don't think a pygmisha deserves to be honored. They call them placeholders. They call them women who have no self-esteem, have no self-worth. The more you do for a man, the more you betray your womanhood, and they're just more cutthroat. Yet, if you were to ask a man which woman deserves to be honored, the one who puts family before herself, serves her husband, submits to her husband, loves her husband, doesn't withhold and weaponize intimacy, cooks good food for him so he eats healthy, obeys the rules he sets, and they have a good line of communication, they have charm, and it's not just about using the other for material gain. The man would most likely, if he's raised upon good values, would say that the woman that's more slandered as a pygmisha would be the more honorable one. And she deserves to be more respected. And when you think about it in a religious context, the three Abrahamic faiths would honor the woman who has chastity, who has a good soul, because we know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala judges us by our intentions. We know that. In our actions. But He knows what's within the chest, is my point. And if a woman intends to marry a man just for the material gains, and she treats him poorly, plays mind games, does occultic witchcraft rituals on him with period blood and all the weird, creepy stuff these women do, well then, we know that she's not honorable because she's behaving in a mischievous, dark way. Okay? And she's quite maleficent. She's not very charming and nurturing. Okay? And to honor, I'm looking at my notes here, you have high respect, you hold that person in great esteem, and you regard them greatly, And you have to fulfill and keep agreements and obligations to that person. So if you honor an agreement, so your wedding vows, you honor them. And when you think about the occultic feminists, when they take their wedding vows, it says through sickness and in health, through poverty and wealth. Like, they have these traditional vows, and then these women will say, sure, yep, and even get married in a church by a priest. And yet the whole time, they know that if this guy can't give me the lifestyle I want in terms of vacations, perfume, Chanel bags, eating out every night because these women don't want to cook, then it's time to dump him, take away the kids, and go find a new man, and hopping from bed to bed until they find a man who is willing to give in to all her demands. And this leads to the children being exposed to more and more men and having an unstable home, not having a solid father figure, and also the confusion of just because you have money, that must mean automatically that you're going to be a good father and a good husband. And this places money as a god above everything else. And if someone worships money, it's hard to have a lot of respect for them, because what they'll do in order to get that money and maintain that money supply will lead them to dishonorable acts. Because sometimes doing the honorable action requires the option that doesn't bring in the most money, right? Think about a cop who saw another officer beat a civilian, and he knows that if he snitches, he's probably gonna lose his position on the force or have some type of retaliation, and he doesn't want to lose all that money he got. Like, let's say he just bought a house or something and he's in debt, so he doesn't want to lose his job, so he doesn't do the honorable thing of telling on the corrupt cop. Instead, turns a blind eye, and then corruption follows. So when a woman is highly materialistic and a gold digger, and she only values a man for his money, she doesn't care how he gets the money. When you really look at it, it's all about, can he afford X, Y, and Z? If so, fine. And then this is how you get the lunacy of the Scarface wife. And she had no kids. Like, if you think about Michelle Pfeiffer was the actress, I think her name was. She, the one who played the girlfriend of Tony Montana in Scarface, of Al Pacino's character. You know, she didn't have kids with him. She didn't want to have kids with him. But she enjoyed dating dangerous men for the lifestyle and wanted a nanny, right? Now, her behavior is not honorable, but she's in a position that a lot of women covet. And if you are a criminal, you don't deserve to be honored. But a lot of women will think that them being with a criminal is fine because they have a lifestyle. And people judge you not by your actions, but by your socioeconomic status more. And this is how a person can fall from honor to disgrace. And remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can humiliate whomever He wills. And He can raise in status whomever He wills. Okay? And if you're just a simple electrician, you're a plumber, you could have way more honor on Judgment Day than the Wolf of Wall Street and some other cartel member or triad member, you name it. And so, when women say men are supposed to honor women, it's not just all women. It's on a case-by-case basis, I'd argue, when you really are honest with yourself. Because if someone is behaving in an immoral, degenerate, sycophantic, sociopathic manner, you can have a sort of human dignity to where how you deal with some aspects of their personality and behaviors and actions, but you don't have to treat them as if they're the same as a good person, I'd argue. Because no one does that in reality. If you had two dogs, one always bites you and rips up your sofa, and the other one is docile, obedient, and loyal, your heart naturally is going to cling to the animal that makes your life easier. Same with a boss. You have a boss who doesn't overburden you with work, who doesn't disrespect you. And then you have a boss who's a tyrant, authoritarian, doesn't appreciate you, never gives you any let up. You're obviously going to gravitate towards the one who behaves better. So if a woman is a wife and she doesn't cook, she doesn't clean, she doesn't care what her husband eats, it's all about me, I, using intimacy as a weapon, using the children as a coercive tool, like if you don't do what I say, I'll divorce you and you'll never see your kids. This is not an honorable woman. And too many of the gold-digging feminists think you just have to be attractive, and that's enough. It's not about behavior, and it's not about what you do for them. It's all about what they do for you. It's a very selfish ethos. It's a very degenerate personality, a chaotic persona. And so when someone who's an occultic feminist or a gold digger says men are to honor women, and these same women talk about a sisterhood and then mock women as pick-me-shows because they like intimacy with their husbands, they don't want to be combative, catty, and bitchy with their husbands, you can see that, there's a hypocrisy here. So men are supposed to honor all kinds of women, but women don't honor all kinds of women. They mock pick-me-shows and encourage Cruella de Vil behaviors. The devil wears Prada egoism. And this isn't sustainable. And because some of the most honorable women are humble and are not selfish. And they think of the greater good, but they also know how to maintain their own personal good. And they do believe that there are actions you can do which can lower your status in this world and in the hereafter. So they're more conscious of their behavior and the choices they make. Whereas someone who thinks they're a goddess and that they're the main character, they only care about what they think. And they're not thinking of anyone else. So their whole measurement system of honor and dishonor is skewed. So take a hard look at yourself and say, am I doing honorable things? Do I treat this person in an honorable way? What can I fix? And when you do that, you come against the black mirror. Become more self-aware of what it is you need to fix. And taking the steps to do that. So, think about that, okay? And as a woman, you have to be very careful of these occultic feminist influencers who rage against men and who boast about how little they do for their man and how much they demand from their man. Because then you can see that if they'll treat their husband like that, imagine how they'll treat you. If someone treats their husband bad and they brag, very braggadocious, about how little they do, how conniving they are, how much they lie, how much they deceive, how cold and vindictive they are towards their husband, how much they despise doing anything for their husband, just imagine how they would talk behind your back. We have to be super careful these days. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protect us and guide us, and to remember, what does Islam honor? What kind of women does Islam honor? Okay? That is very important. Because some women, especially gold-digging occultic feminists, think honor means subservience, perpetual subservience. And that the man must be a puppet to the woman's whims and desires. Above all else, he must be a literal chained mannequin. And this is not conducive towards having a healthy marriage. And a lot of the cryptic, occultic, gold-digging feminists, they don't care about a healthy marriage. They care about getting money. And this is not sustainable. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can wipe away your beauty and your wealth at any time. And if He allows you to have it in this world, you should be very terrified of the hereafter, especially if you feel you've lived in a dishonorable way. Let me know what you think. Please like, comment, subscribe, and share. join the blog. Take care.